What's up, guys? This is Joe from Analog Archive, back with another vinyl video. Today's video is going to be another addition to the Blue Note 4000 series. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you again to Sherv, Dave, and Rob, the ones that had kind of put this 4000 series project together. Thank you for letting me continue to be a part of it. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy making these videos. Today's album that I'm going to show off, part of the 4000 series, is 4069. This is Stanley Turrentine up at Minton's place. This is volume 1. There is also a volume 2, 4070. I don't have that one, that's why I'm only showing off this one. But this was kind of a two-part set that they kind of had recorded at the time. It has Stanley Turrentine on tenor sax, Grant Green on the guitar, Horace Parlan on piano, George Tucker on bass, and Al Harewood on the drums. And kind of a little bit of the backstory about this album is that Horace Parlan, George Tucker, and Al Harewood, the three of them were recording and kind of performing at Minton's, which is a popular jazz venue in the 50s and 60s, and actually it started back on the liner notes. It said it started back in the 40s. It was called the Playhouse, but it became kind of more known as being Minton's because that was the owner's name, Mr. Minton. But the three of them were kind of performing there. Especially George Tucker was on the bass, was a real mainstay, was a real popular performer and musician at this club at the time. And Stanley Turrentine had kind of come in and was kind of looking to record some music, some new album, and Alfred Lyon decided to add in Grant Green, who was an up-and-coming jazz guitarist at the time. He had just gotten to New York a few months before, and they were looking to kind of put him on some more sessions. He had already recorded Grant's first stand, and I believe he had even done Green Street 4071, which Sherv actually just had shown off. I'm not positive if that one had come out yet, but I believe that one had been recorded. But he was new to kind of the jazz scene. There wasn't a lot of people that had heard of Grant Green. He was kind of a new musician. Stanley Turrentine, Horace Parlan, George Tucker, and Al Harewood had all worked before on Blue Note 4043, which was Horace Parlan's Speaking My Piece that I believe Mazzy had shown off a little while ago. So the four of them had performed together. They were on another Blue Note album before this session. But the nice thing that I really do enjoy about this is that it is live. So you do get a different aspect to it that you normally wouldn't get, that you normally wouldn't be able to listen to when you're just listening to a studio album. So it's nice to kind of hear the live, a live set, much different feel. The musicians are in a kind of a different headspace. There's what was normal for Blue Note was the time to practice. They paid their musicians to rehearse the music before they actually recorded it. That wouldn't have been the case for this. This would have been just probably recorded that night and then been mastered by Ruby Van Gelder. So a real simple cover. There isn't a whole lot to it. Nice kind of contrast, different colors. But as I said before, this is a two-part kind of set. They took the first half and put it on volume 1, 4069, which is what this one is, and then 4070 is just the second half, the other 4 songs. So there are 4 songs that are on this album. The only song that was composed by any of the musicians was the second song on the A side, Stanley's Time, which is a little bit slower. It's not a ballad kind of speed. It's probably more of like a mid-tempo, and that was kind of the case for both Stanley's Time and then the closing song on the B-side, Yesterdays. Those two songs are a little bit slower compared to But Not For Me and Broadway being the opening songs on the A and B side, respectively. So this is just a real great recording. Stanley Turrentine, it's a little bit different of a sound than I think a lot of other Turrentine albums. This is more up-tempo. He was more known for kind of the soul jazz, a much slower, almost like contemplative jazz feel to it, especially as the 60s had gone on. I don't know if I had said yet, but this was recorded in February of 1961 and was released later that year. But just a real great kind of quintet feel to it, real fast moving. Horace Parland kind of, I wouldn't say distance himself from the rest of the sound, but he did have a very unique way of playing the piano. Mazzy and other people that have talked about Horace Parland before, it's well known that he had polio when he was younger, and he lost his ring and his pinky finger, the function, being able to use those fingers, and so he had to adapt a style on his right hand to only be able to use 3 fingers. And so he created a very bluesy, a very unique style of playing the piano, which you do hear on this. It's a lot of really slamming the keys, but it is enjoyable, and again, it's a nice contrast. Grant Green really is one of the strongest, if not the standouts on this album. From an early session, as I said, he's only recorded a few sessions before this. He really makes his presence known. Really great playing. You are able to kind of hear some of what's to come as he continues to record for Blue Note throughout the early to mid 60s, and it's really great how he's able to kind of bounce off of Stanley Turrentine, bounce off of Horace Parland, and create a really great rhythm and be able to improvise so well. That something that he was really well known for. Anybody that does know Grant Green knows that he was very good at improvising and really creating a great sound for the guitar, and had a very unique tone as well. So just a really enjoyable album. There isn't any weak points on the album. Again, I do really enjoy the fact that it is a live album. There's a few here and there that have been discussed in the 4000 series already that are live albums, but this one really is a strong session. The copy that I have is a stereo copy. Other people have discussed this before, but if you are kind of newer to Blue Note, if you see an 8 in front of the number, especially this being the 4000 series, so it would be in front of the 4. When you see the 8, that's telling you that it's a stereo copy. They started that in the early 60s to kind of differentiate between the mono copies and the stereo when it came to the catalog numbers. Yeah, the copy that I have is a 1983 Japanese press on King. I talked about this in other... Actually, I talked about this when I discussed a few months ago the Blue Note history overall, that King pressings from Japan are really strong alternatives to originals. They're much cheaper. They're going to usually be much cleaner as well, less surface noise, and they really make the sessions really sound great. So if you haven't picked this one up, I definitely recommend it. Again, it being live gives it a unique sound, but the musicians on it are some of the best. Stanley Turrentine has always been a real consistent tenor sax player. Grant Green is considered one of the best guitar players. Horace Parland, even though he didn't really record many sessions on On Blue Note, he had a few here and there. He was side man on a few others. His albums are difficult to find, but those are very enjoyable. But just a real great rhythm section along with the tenor sax playing of Stanley Turrentine, and then Grant Green on the guitar. So definitely recommend picking this one up. And 4070 being the second part would definitely be enjoyable as well. So again, this is 4069 up at Minton's Stanley Turrentine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please think about subscribing, liking, and putting some comments in this comment section. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.